here in Springside Park, and we're standing in front of the Springside House, which is a great old historic landmark.
Springside House was originally called Elmhurst. It was built between 1856 and 1860 by Abraham Burbank, who came to Pittsfield with 50 cents and a bunch of shirts to his name from Springfield and became a very wealthy businessman and hotelier and real estate mogul.
This park and this great Victorian building in back of us was donated by the Miller family back in the beginning of the 20th century.
The Springside House has a lot of sentimental and nostalgic value for people in Pittsfield. I think it's a big part of their growing up experience and childhood and getting ready for dances and parades and things like that.
When I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, was very active, and thousands of kids associated the Springside House as the headquarter for the Parks and Recreation Department and the park system.
This is where folks came to sign up for Little League and Babe Ruth, and this is where they came to sign up for all of the park activities. It was a really busy place, right situated here within the park. So there really is an emotional attachment. Not only is it a grand old building, but it's a grand old building in this magnificent park. And it's a special place for this community, and its restoration is really something that I think this community really wants to see.
It's been really great to have people from the community kind of wander through and look at some of the things and recognize people from photographs. And these are just some of the bits of memorabilia. And these are all just historic photos from different eras of the park and the house. It's just been really nice to hear people's memories and hear how much the Springside House and the park means to them and how much a part of their lives it's been. The building's been vacant for a few years now, and I think as soon as the point at which it was no longer being used, people began to be interested in what could be done with the building and in seeing that it doesn't fall into disuse and just become another demolished historic property.
Several months ago, the city received a preservation grant award from Mass Historic Commission, and that's going to allow us to do a conditions assessment and feasibility study for the reuse of this grand old building.
It will allow us to put together a comprehensive plan, and I think it'll be a combination, as I said before, of educational purposes, educational utilization, but also family-oriented passive recreation.
It's very well suited to educational purposes, being set in one of our largest, most biodiverse parks.
And I'm hopeful that this plan won't be just an accumulation of uses that might be considered, but also a fiscal management plan for the park. And it will touch on things such as revenue generation that will help us continue to maintain this beautiful building, but also expand the park. And that was one of the early tenets of the agreement with the Miller family, is that we would always be looking to add to this park. And this year, we're going to be adding 8 acres to the park. So that's part of the long-range plan.
My hopes for the Springside House are that we put it back into a use which is really consistent with the park. I think this building, as the keystone feature within Springside Park, it really has the house and the park can't be separated. So we're going into this project with no preconceived notion of what the outcome may be. That's where the community comes in. We really want to have an open public process. We want to hear what all the great ideas are from the residents of the city.
Out of a healthy community conversation, I think we'll come to a good consensus that reflects all the things that the building has been and could be in the future.